Hi, this is Kelly Kirkpatrick, and this is my PowerPoint on school lunch policy about growing change. Education is the responsibility of state and local government. Um, Besides just the Department of Education that's at the federal level, usually most things having to do with education occur at the local government levels. A large part of funding, the largest part of funding, 88%, is non-federally sourced for all educational purposes below the college level, and only 11% is funded for Head Start and the school lunch program through the federal level, and these funds began many decades ago for the purposes of rescue or for emergency response type systems. After World War II, there was significant need for national security through nutrition, through food. There was food scarcity, and children also couldn't go home for lunch, as a lot of the women during the war were working, and the school lunch program developed to feed children because the food sources weren't available at home as they had been previously before the war. In 1946, the National School Lunch Act was passed, and this was a subsidized program through the federal government that offered low cost and free meals to those who were not able to feed themselves. And the key to these subsidies is that they used U.S. grown commodities. And commodities, through many of the amendments that have happened since the original law in 1946, are utilizing different foodstuffs, starchier products than the high nutritional value food products that were originally offered in the program. And currently, U.S. production of commodities is becoming increasingly more unsustainable. This is happening because of the chemicals that are used to produce higher yields, and those chemicals, petro-based chemicals, use a lot of water. They also degrade the soil. So it's becoming increasingly more difficult to get adequate yields for commodities under the current agricultural system. Many of these crops are grown in semi-arid or arid locations where water needs to be imported to satisfy irrigation needs for these crops. Currently, the House of Representatives has Bill number 3532 under order, and it is to amend the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Act. And what it's doing is it's making way to include canned, dried, frozen, or pureed fruits and vegetables into the lunch system, hoping to give greater access to fruits and vegetables to kids. Unfortunately, this is adding sugar to processing to many of the pureed fruits. So not only is the calorie value being increased, it's being increased with not nutritional density, but just a sugar base that isn't offering high nutritional value to students that consume these products. And this is where Farm to School comes in. It's preaching local, fresh, and more sustainable food sources for use in the school systems instead of just utilizing industrial agriculture to meet those purposes. The USDA has surveyed in recent years, finding that a significant amount of people are using farm to school, local sourcing for lunch systems, and we happen to be in Minnesota with a rating of 50 to 74% of farm to school. The Rochester Public School District, and so does the Winona Public School District, utilize a fair amount of farm to school through the agricultural region that we live in. At Rochester Beacon Academy, I had been discussing with my science classes, and we decided we would like to grow our own food and possibly have a plant sale at the end of the year. The 8th grade advisory decided that they wanted to do a Carton to Garden at my suggestion. We had seen the Carton to Garden advertising that was done on the milk cartons. And I'll give you a moment to read this. I incorporated all of the classes into doing this coursework. 8th grade advisory is the main class that did the efforts to start the process with this. We received a seed packet in the mail, and I also utilized the other classes to work through the process, the economic, social, and environmental aspects of why we would want to grow our own food, what the differences in nutrition would be, and even incorporating some of the soil science for how we would create our own soil to grow our seeds. So through Introduced Lessons in Sustainability, we decided that we wanted to host a sale and look at the practical aspects of growing food. We started saving the milk cartons, and a couple of times they were sabotaged by empty or not quite empty food plates being dumped onto the milk cartons, and none of us really wanted to clean milk cartons with spaghetti and spaghetti sauce all over them. It took several weeks to be able to save enough. 516 was our plan. We wanted to grow 16 flats of food for the plant sale and eat some of it as well. Cleaned the milk cartons, dried them. Like I said, our goal was 516 of them. We cut the tops off of them, and we had to fill them with soil. So the 9th and 10th grade chemistry classes worked at developing soil recipes for the other students, the 7th and 8th graders, to do the planting and do the soil mixing. And their challenge was to research the elements that were found in healthy soils, what components we needed to add together to create an appropriate mix. The 7th graders from donated supplies mixed a lot of the components in the soil. We had perlite, humus. We did have some topsoil that was donated, detritus leaf mold. So we had organic and non-organic materials that went into the soil that would provide a good base for nutrient value to go into the plants. The 8th grade earth science course was in the process of doing a soil unit at the time, so we discovered the difference between soil and dirt. The children won't ever call dirt soil again, and they won't call soil dirt. They definitely understand the difference, and we're able to research what makes up a healthy soil. Once we had our soil mixed, we began to fill the cartons, and there are some of our seeds that we had started there. South-facing window of the classroom. 7th grade life science, we used a sweet potato for asexual reproduction, vegetative reproduction, to look at the differences in how to basically clone material from a living organism that's already established. And then we use sexual reproduction, sowing of seeds from the parts of the plant that would produce both male and female parts for reproductive purposes. There are some more of the seeds that we had grown or started that we sowed. One of the parents donated a seed cart for us, which was really wonderful. We transferred everything to the seed cart and did our inventory and said, thank you very much. There is the 8th grade advisory class that took on this project. Unfortunately, only 10% of our seeds germinated, and out of the 516 cartons, we only ended up with 16 basils, 41 tomatoes, and 3 watermelons. But we threw together a flyer that went out to all the parents for our plant sale that we had planned to have. And the kids became very, very excited about the lettuce that we would be harvesting. And we produced a good amount of lettuce from just our one flat. and the goal is to grow 16 flats of lettuce in the fall during the school year, which is very local and doesn't require anybody to come back during the summer months when there's no one in school, and we can yield a significant amount. We gained 12 cups just from the one flat of lettuce, so we'll be able to, over the course of a year, instead of just the 4 weeks at the end of the year, be able to produce a lot more food for the school. This is what the lettuce looked like from our one flat. This would be the fourth harvest just before school ended, and this is after the harvest. And there's a bowl of our lettuce. There's about 3 to 4 cups there, so just a small serving from one flat, and this is what we got once a week when we harvested. Here's our sale that we had. We were able to make about $78 from our plant sale, and we donated that to PTSO, and we will use it to purchase better seeds next year. We believe our germination rate was so low because the seeds just weren't viable. They were several years old, and we don't know how they were stored. A couple of the other reasons they may not have germinated is many of the seeds were small, and we think they just may have been planted too deeply into the soil. We didn't have a high enough control over handling the planting parameters. And that is it for the PowerPoint. Thank you.